No game in recent memory has been as completely captivating as Omori. It tells the story of a boy, Omori, and his three friends, Kel, Aubrey, and Hiro, on an adventure across a surreal and fun world to find their missing friend, Basil. During their journey, the player is able to meet tons of charming, humorous characters and watch the bonds between the main four protagonists grow. Omori is relentless in its happiness and wholesomeness. Until it isn't. Despite the jovial exterior, Omori has a dark and mysterious side that it is not afraid to show you right off the bat. Whether it's a glimpse of some creepy, out-of-place creature on the edge of the screen after entering a new area, or more elaborate nightmare sequences featuring some of Omori's biggest fears, the game is host to some of the most chilling and effective psychological horror in any RPG I've ever played, constantly reminding you that something is horribly wrong during your otherwise unrelentingly cheerful journey. Thankfully, the game doesn't rely on cheap jump scares to scare the player. The presentation of the world and gameplay is most similar to the games in the Mother franchise, namely Earthbound, yet Omori adds compelling enough mechanics to navigating both combat and the world in order to keep the gameplay relatively fresh and compelling throughout the around 20 hours of gameplay. However, if you're not a fan of RPGs and turn-based combat in the first place, that will not change with Omori, and the combat may be a bit of a struggle to get through. The combat of Omori is mostly made notable through its presentation. All the battles are drawn and animated in this incredibly good-looking and endearing crayon style. Most of the attacks and skills have satisfying noises or fun animation behind them, not to mention the fun little animations and interactions between the crew that trigger when using a combo move with another member of the party. It was always exciting to see the changes in the in-combat interactions as the story progressed and their friends grew closer through their journey. Also, it would be remiss of me not to mention the game's amazing soundtrack. While I love nearly everything about the game, the real draw is the narrative. Omori's story is heavy-hitting, absolutely heartbreaking at times, and masterfully executed. The amount of thought and care put into the incredible foreshadowing symbolism layered throughout the game is almost unbelievable at times. When replaying the beginning of the game to get footage for this video, I came to discover nearly every line of dialogue was pertinent to the twists and turns that eventually come. On the subject of twists, there are many, and each one is more compelling than the last. Just when you think you have an idea of the full picture, new elements get revealed and add more intrigue to the plot. Calling it an emotional rollercoaster would be an understatement. Now I'm going to get more into the themes of the game and what they mean to me personally, which will include some spoilers. Skip to this time to avoid them. Omori is a game that impacted me very personally while I was playing it. While the similar Earthbound was about growing up and confronting the evils of the world, and Undertale about finding the determination and willpower to overcome adversity, Omori tells a more personal, small-scale story of a boy and having to deal with the trauma from his past. The game's willingness to directly touch on themes of anxiety, self-harm, and grief make it feel more human and relatable than the aforementioned examples. I've seen people say the game is about friendship, coming to terms with themselves, or dealing with one's guilt. While these are crucial aspects of the story, I personally think the main theme of Omori is taking action. The first line of dialogue given by an NPC in the game belongs to a black cat in white space, who simply says, "Waiting for something to happen?" This is a mantra sparsely appearing throughout the game, urging Omori and the player to take action. In terms of timeline, Sunny has been isolating himself inside of his home for years before the story of the game starts, waiting for something to happen. And it is only by taking action that Sunny is able to overcome three of his biggest fears and confront the grim truth of his past within 3 days. Remaining vague in order to avoid too heavy of spoilers, the good ending of the game reinforces this idea due to Sunny going out of his way to do something despite the fact it could easily have been avoided for the rest of his life. Without getting too mushy, I'm someone who has dealt with pretty extreme anxiety throughout most of my life, and with that comes the tendency to get easily overwhelmed. In situations like that, the easiest course of action is to do nothing, yet very rarely, or even ever, is that a remotely good choice. Omori is a constant reminder to me now about the importance of taking action and dealing with the problems posed to me, instead of running away. For years now, I've wanted to make a YouTube channel to share my passion for games, television, and movies, but when it would come down to it, I'd always falter and give up on the idea before even starting. Through my newfound love for Omori and the impact of its themes and story, I finally have gotten around to taking the first steps to becoming a content creator. And what better game to cover first than Omori? After all, no good thing has come from just waiting for something to happen.